let's learn more about where we find them, our conversations, and the host family screening process, and what we look for in a family. I am joined today by Amber from Minnesota, a senior member of our EF team, a local school board member, former teacher, and former host parent herself. Hey, Amber.
Hey, great to see you, Carrie. Hi, everyone.
Thanks for being here. And we also have Veronica from New York, a teacher, a Zumba instructor, an EF regional coordinator, and of course, a former host mom as well. Hey, Veronica.
Hello.
Well, let's get into it. Students are really curious. Where do our host families come from? Amber, I'll ask you.
Yeah, that's a great question, and I think something that a lot of people wonder, because it's a lot of folks we need to find to welcome these amazing students. And I will share that we find host families in a lot of different ways. First of all, we, like any other company, have social media and websites and ways to get the word out there in a big way. But more importantly, we have local coordinators, or IECs, I'm sure you've heard that term a lot during this session now, who connect with members of their community. They might ask their friends, they might present at groups or schools, or have a booth, or send flyers around to try and find interested families who are excited about welcoming another person into their family.
Thanks, Amber. And that's totally on point. We have central ways of putting the word out about exchange, but a lot of it happens actually in the local communities through our local and regional coordinators. So I'll ask this next question to Veronica. How do you go about finding volunteer host families in your community?
Sure. So I work at a high school, so I do get a good number of host families from the high school where I work because I run a big community service group there. But also on social media and Facebook, sometimes people will message me and say they see my pictures of me and the students having so much fun. How can they get involved? People at my church, people in my neighborhood. My family, friends. I think they see me interact in the community so much with the kids, they just want to be a part of that too. So.
That's great. And that's the type of word of mouth marketing that we're hoping for. We're hoping that someone sees exchange students in their community or on social media doing something in their community and they think, hey, how can I get involved in that? And it does take a lot in terms of the requirements of a host family and who is also right for this program, because just as students apply for this program, host families also apply. So this is a selection-based admissions process. So Amber, what are we looking for in terms of a host family who you will feel will be successful on this program?
Absolutely, yeah. We want to make sure first and foremost that the host family has space in their heart and space in their home for a student. We look for people who enjoy teenagers, they are excited about having another family member, but that they're also set up to do so in a way that it's not a financial burden to them as they are volunteers. And they also want to make sure, or we also want to make sure that they have a caring environment for that student. So our most successful host families are those who are flexible, open-minded, excited to learn about their student, and excited to share some of their traditions with their new family member as well.
And those are some of the same qualities that we're looking for in students: open-minded, flexible, wanting to share, and wanting to learn. So we're really trying to align all of those values and motivations together. And as Amber mentioned, this is a volunteer program in the United States. So this program is ultimately run through the US government, through the State Department, as a way to help introduce people to other cultures, introduce youth to Americans, real Americans, so they get to understand that we are kind, wonderful, open people, and that we can dispel any myths that might be in Hollywood or might be on the news, and also for Americans to be able to learn firsthand what it's like in another country and to be able to learn about that culture and share that culture. And the government requires that families are volunteers, which means that they cannot be paid. So it does take a lot for a host family to say, hey, I'm going to welcome a teenager I've never met before into my home for a semester or exchange year for free. And that's the motivation that we're looking for, is the motivation to share cultures, to learn about a new culture, to be part of those everyday moments and welcome someone into that, their crazy host family environment. That's what Amber is talking about. So thank you for sharing that in terms of what we're looking for. Now, Veronica, what do you think host families are looking for when they're joining the program?
So I would say that the people around me or the people that I interview are looking for someone who wants to be a part of their family, someone who wants to have dinner every night and share family traditions and experiences. They want to learn about the country that you came from. So, you know, maybe at dinner, you can talk about stuff that you guys do at home with your families for dinner. So they're really looking for just someone to, you know, just be a part of their family and just someone that they can share their life with and share their America with, basically. So
that's great. And that's why it's important to make sure to spend time with the family in the living room, in the kitchen, even just doing your homework at the kitchen table. Don't lock yourself away in your bedroom. And that's a great way to just to share your everyday moments and share what we call small talk. We like the small talk and the chit chat. So when families are expressing interest, so as Veronica mentioned, a family might say to her, hey, I saw you doing an activity with your students. How can I get involved? That starts the process of speaking with the host family, and we start the screening and application process to make sure that it's a safe and open environment for a student. Amber, how do we screen host families during that application process?
Absolutely. I'm very proud of our program and its screening process because I feel like it's very thorough and uses a lot of different checkpoints to make sure that this family is right for the program and this student is right for this family. And so for our families, we do have them complete an application online that is screened by members of our staff on our compliance team to make sure it meets all of the requirements. Families must also fill out background checks. So looking at essentially a criminal history to make sure that we are not bringing people into our program who might have some things in their past that we aren't comfortable with. So we make sure the family has that. We call references and make sure that those families kind of check out in their community with people there. And additionally, and this is, I guess, what I think is one of the most important pieces of the screening process, is the local coordinator goes and visits with this family, all of the members of the family in their home. This is both a chance for the coordinator to assess the safety of the home, as well as the family dynamics, making sure that the family is communicating well, they're getting their questions answered. And this is an awesome time for the coordinator to start preparing that host family and making sure that they truly are a good fit for our program and the students they're interested in will line up well with their lifestyle and interests and things like that. So it's a very thorough screening process, and sometimes it takes a little while, and that can be, hard to wait to find out maybe who your host family is. But I do believe that it's a very essential part of our process and something I think we pride ourselves on as well.
Absolutely. Thanks for walking us through that process. And it is something that we take very seriously. We have more strict screening criteria, both for students and host families, than the program itself from the government requires. And that's because we want to be the highest quality exchange program here. So when a host family's going through that process, they're expressing interest, they're working through their application, we're also trying to figure out who might be a good fit in terms of a student for that family. Amber, how does a host family choose a student?
Well, there's no one certain way, I guess. Each family kind of has a different things they're looking for, but we often try to help the coordinators, help the host families look for a student who will align with both their values as a family, their lifestyle, whether they're more a stay-at-home kind of a family or a very busy type of family doing things all the time. And then, maybe look at interests, religious preferences, things like that. All of those different factors come into play, but it's really a combination of the insight from the local coordinator, maybe the placement manager, and the host family as well.
Thanks. And Veronica, you have helped to place and match many, many students in your community and even in your home. So are there certain traits that you look for in a student coming specifically to your area or your schools to help indicate if they will be a good fit?
Yeah, absolutely. So I live in New York. So I'm about 45 minutes from New York City. When I place a kid around here, I try to look for someone who is very active, because Long Island is just a place where, the kids are always involved in various things. So families are always running around. So we try to look for a kid that wants to be busy, is independent, and just enjoys the hustle and bustle of moving about. So that's definitely something that I try to search through an application to see if the kid, you don't necessarily have to live in a big city where you come from, but you have to be open to being in a place where, there's a lot going on and there's people are in and out and there's a lot happening around you. So that's definitely something we look for when we're looking for a kid to be in Long Island in New York, but that would be different in upstate New York. So it just all depends on the area of New York that you're looking at. Because even in our own state, there's different traits that would work better in different areas. So.
And that's exactly right. Because we're placing exchange students all over the country, you might be going to a small town, you might be going to a larger suburban area, and we're trying to help put this puzzle together of what we feel is a good fit for the student based upon what we've learned about you in your application and interview process, what we've learned about the host family during their application and interview process, what the school themselves requires, and the outside environment. So it is very much like a puzzle. And when you first get your placement information, you might not automatically think, oh yeah, I know why I've been selected by this family or this community. But you do have to put some trust in us as the experts in exchange that we have reasons that we feel you will be successful in these different environments. Now, it doesn't mean that one student will be successful in a larger area and not successful in a smaller area. We look at all the factors together because we do expect you to be open-minded and flexible in the type of environments that you're going to live in and the type of host families that you're going to live in.
Right.
Well, Amber, what advice would you give to these students about coming to live in their new American community?
I love this question because I think the answer seems simple, but it's hard to implement. My advice would be to be a yes person, meaning when somebody asks you to try something, say yes. They might say, hey, do you want to come take a picture in front of this cornfield? And you say, yeah, that'd be cool. Or do you want to try this new food that our family loves? It's a favorite of ours. Say yes. Give it a try and be open to seeing things through new eyes. Yes, you are the same person, who left your home country and came here, but also you have a chance to try new things and continue to develop yourself by trying lots of different activities, different foods, and meeting different friends.
Great advice. What about you, Veronica? What advice would you give to them to help fit into their new family environment?
I mean, a lot of what she was saying about saying yes, but I think the important thing is when you're trying to like fit into your family, is to be present, right? So, like you had mentioned before, like if you're doing your homework, like here at my house, the kids all have desks in their room, of course, but we tend to do our homework here at the kitchen table. So when the girls come home from whatever sport they're playing, they grab their books, they'll sit at the table. So if you're not present where your family is, then there's no way to like engage with, interact with them and like, you know, have common experiences. So, you know,